Okay, and we are live, so everybody. We're here live in the basement of the Central Jersey Masonic Center, waiting for you to join us. And please let me know when you do, and I will, for the first two who say so, I will let you know, and I will do a spiritual treatment for you. And Debbie Joy, you have won. All right, so there you go. That is excellent. All right, so we're ready to go. Hola to you too. Okie dokie. Oh my goodness. All right, so we are ready to go. I think fall has finally fully arrived, and it is the season of harvest, so let's accept our good right here and right now. This word is being spoken for each one. And as always, if there is anyone else you would like to have included in this truth, just think of their name now. If there's any place or situation on the planet or group of people you'd like included, just think of that place, that group, whatever, and realize that this infinite mind knows what you mean, and they are included. So, that one changeless, absolute being is that knower, that thinker, and that which it is infinite, eternal. It is all that is, and it is all these qualities of life, love, light, power, peace, beauty, harmony, joy. Expressing these qualities always, continuously. It is a creator with a creative process, and it is the creation. And the creation is made out of these qualities because these qualities are the substance. And so that divine creator creates by knowing itself, contemplating itself, contemplating, I am that I am. And so that knowing of itself, I am that I am, does express as infinite variety, which is continuously changing because the I am that I am is continuously creating. Nothing is changing on its own initiative. Everything is changing as a result of that unchanging presence, knowing I am that I am. And because it is infinite, that is what causes the change. I am that I am, contemplating on an infinite, eternal essence, creates infinite manifestations. Each one is a creation of that self-contemplation. And the truth is that the I am that I am, being changeless, is knowing that I amness individualized. And so at the very center of each one's being is the divine's knowing of its I am that I am. And that I am that is the cause and the creation of each one is changeless. So there is something about each one that is changeless, regardless of all the shifting changes that may be going on in anyone's world or in the body or in the environment or even in the thinking. The I am, that thinker, that divine thinker is knowing itself in the knowing of each one. And so that divine thinker is somehow that divine self within each one, which is eternal, infinite, and changeless. And all belief that one is mortal and the need to be immortal is all erased and evaporated because that I am is. There is no going to be, there is no becoming more of. All that is in the world of change, but that which the divine is knowing is an isness, a beingness, and that is the truth of each one. And each one is now aware of this central, infinite, eternal I amness that is the isness, the cause of expression of each one. Call it the soul, call it the heart of each one, call it the divine self, but it is. And that is the truth of each one. So regardless of how much change may be going on in the world, each one is now more aware than ever before of that which is the cause, that divine self, changeless, infinite, eternal, knowing itself continuously and always creating that which it knows. Each one is now in that awareness of that essence of oneself. Each one is operating or seeing the expression and the changes of the world from that point of relative first cause. So there are no changes that disturb, upset, or even are a surprise. No such thing exists. That divine eternal I am is the cause, and each one has the capacity to know what that I am is knowing, and to connect with that which is eternal and changeless and infinite, and therefore to see the truth of oneself, the essence of oneself, and to realize that no change on the outer can affect, interfere, or violate that which is the essence of oneself. And so all belief or fear in death, in change, in losing something, in being limited in physical form in some way, or all belief in what other people might do, or all inner experience of resistance, rejection, and rebellion to that which is ongoing in one's world is all by this word, erased, vanished, gone, irrelevant, because that which is eternal, infinite, the isness of each one is recognized, and each one knows that that essence of each one is pure, wholesome, loving goodness, and that is constant, and that nothing can interfere with that, nothing can affect that, and that this is the truth, and that a body and a form and an environment and a world is all created for this isness to express itself. Everything in this world, everything in one's body, everything in the universe is an effect manifested by the cause, and the cause is God. The cause is the absolute, the eternal, the infinite, whether it is at the level of God as God or God as now the divine being of each one. God as God is the cause, the first cause of everything. And so all worry and concern about secondary causation, which is the world of change, and this affecting that and that affecting this, it is all now seen from the perspective of the divine's eyesight, which sees the first cause, which sees that which is creating all this stuff that is changing. And so each one connected with that first cause is now empowered, because it is the power of God that is knowing itself, all power, and there is no other power. And so each one withdrawing that belief in all of the being a victim of the effects of what's going on in this human world, human realm, materialistic universe, all being a victim of its changes, its effects, is all, it's removed, it's erased, because when one is one with the one, all power is there. And so that power is strengthening each one, inspiring each one, empowering each one, so that each one is able to look at all the changes in this world and one's world with complete peace of mind, peace of consciousness, able to see it all with the eyesight of the divine that declares, very interesting. Because each one knows that that which is being created, that which anything is being changed, shall change again and again and again. And that uniting with that first cause, the divine, everything is changed for the better, to better be able to express life, love, light, power, peace, beauty, harmony, and joy. And this is all good. No matter what form it could possibly take, these divine qualities being expressed and manifested as life and coming to manifest more abundantly. This is good and only good, and in ways and means of goodness, so that each one is now one with the flow that occurs in identifying with that first cause, the all, the I am that I am. And from this divine identification, the flow of life is moving easily, effortlessly, gracefully, from good to greater good. Each one is experiencing the feeling and the delight and the peace and the gratitude and the awe and the joy and the love of being one with all, and being at home with the all, and to be able to be on this planet, enjoying it, participating in its expressions and in its changes, but not being of it, because each one is of God. And so each one is therefore experiencing all the good that comes with identifying with that divine first cause, whose intention is always to love that which it is creating. And so each one is loving this life that he or she is experiencing and expressing, because it is of the divine. And the experience of this life is more harmonious, healthier, more divinely supported in all ways, including financially. Each one is having a body that works better for moving around on this planet, that's easier and more flexible and stronger and able to do every good thing. The essence of truth, the essence of the spirit of each one desires to do on this planet. And each one is so filled with the essence of love that each one is able to see the essence of love in everyone and in everything, because it is there. And this seeing of the life and the love and the beauty and the joy and the harmony and the goodness in all manifests as more of these qualities in one's life. So each one is healthier, more peaceful, enjoying this gift of life more and more, expressing him or herself in wonderful, new, creative, and innovative ways, expressing this life freely and easily and delightfully, and being fully supported in the expression of this life with a nice, good, strong body that's able to do whatever needs to be done, but also all the resources, all the financial support, all the technological intelligence and wisdom that's needed. It's all provided. And so each one is that great I am that I am, expressing in human form, but knowing it is not the form, knowing that it is not human, knowing that it is pre-human, pre-form. It is the I am that needs no form to know itself, but creates that form that is best suited for the purposes of its next greatest expression. This is the truth. I am grateful that's the truth. So It's done. I release this word to the law, and so it is.
So it is.
That's the way it is. Okie dokie. All right, so Margit, welcome, and Tina, good morning. And we are moving forward this morning with no music. So we're making our own music this morning. I know we're all like, oh, what do we do? No music. It was time for me to have a coffee break. But we're ready to move forward. So I'm bringing up Regina, who is our practitioner, who is going to welcome us to this fabulous service we have here.
Thank you.
Please come forward.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Regina.
I guess I can take more time, huh?
Yes, you can. Yes, go for it.
All right. I'm Regina Quince, and I am honored to be one of the practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. Thank you, Reverend Karen, for your treatment, meditation, affirmative prayer. I know. I'm knowing that we're all collecting that which is ours to collect from that treatment. So thank you for giving us that information and that guidance. So we are a loving, healing, and inclusive community which teaches and practices the principles of science of mind for the well-being and spiritual growth of ourselves and the world. Woo-hoo! All right. And I thought, I'm not glad Reverend Rich isn't here, but but I had something extra I wanted to communicate. What is it that we believe in in following the spiritual philosophy of the science of mind, written by Ernest Holmes? So it's a spiritual philosophy. You know, we embrace all sacred thinking and thoughts, and I'm grateful for that. I'm open to it, and I know I benefit from it. So here we are. So what are some of the basic ideas of science of mind? That there is one power and presence in the universe. One. We call it God, or Allah, or whatever that presence, essence, source, substance, universal energy. That's one of our basic beliefs. And that God is all there is. So we are by nature that which it is, and it lives, moves, and has its being through us. We also believe, as we become aware of this truth, we allow Source to influence our lives for good, whether for improved health, finances, relationships, or simply more happiness, joy, love, and peace. Spiritual laws, like physical ones, govern the universe, and learning how to use them is the truth that sets us free to choose to create the life of our dreams. And Holmes taught that by changing our thinking, we change our lives. Right. So that's what we're about. That's basic beliefs. Then there's more, because we can talk about other principles, but that's the core. And this can be found by Googling it. So it's universal, you know. So anyway, we have some announcements that we want to make, And I want to bring John up so he can make the first announcement.
So next week, I'm John Heron, I'm a practitioner here. Next week we're doing a workshop here at the Masonic Lodge on River Road in Princeton, and we'd love you to come. It's going to be called In the Beginning, a world that works for everyone. And we're going to look at, I've been thinking a lot, and probably all of us have, about what's going on in the world around us. So just as the wonderful thing that Regina just read about what do we teach, what do we practice, how do we take that practice out into the world to bring more peace in the world? So please come and join us. There will be meditation, there will be journaling, there will be things like that. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. We have wonderful workshops. We have fun. And we really want you to come and see us face to face here. I have committed to post a Practitioner of the Day lesson. And it'll be a follow-on for what I've been talking about during the welcomes that I've done over the last couple of weeks. I am reading Spiritual Economics by Eric Butterworth, and I just want to share. So here we go. Now, I'm on, for anyone who's been following me, I'm on page 76 through 78, and I don't read it fast. I let it simmer. I'm a simmerer. So I let it simmer and then focus on why am I reading this? Why was I gifted and drawn to this book? Because I know that it's a part of some desire that I put out there, I don't know when, and it's being answered. And here I am, going through this book, which, in this class that I took, I think in 2005. So, here we go. So if you're following me, I'm on page 76. When you have a balanced consciousness centered in the ever-present substance of God, the things will come easily as they are needed. Do you trust that? Do you trust that? You gotta trust it. So the focus that Butterworth is giving us through these couple of pages is to get centered in the divine flow. That's the work. That's the thinking. Is to get centered into divine flow. But he uses this term called economic hypochondriac. Think about it. Economic what am I saying? Hypochondriac. And that is always something more to demonstrate. It reminded me of your 8-year-old Christmas list, to Santa. And the list is so long, and and you want it all, you want it all, you want it all, you want it all. It's kind of like economic hypochondriacism. Well, where is it? It also reminded me of the goose and the golden egg, the Aesop fable. So here we are. I'm going to read you the fable. There once was a countryman who possessed the most wonderful goose you can imagine, For every day when he visited the nest, the goose had laid a beautiful, glittering, golden egg. The countryman took the eggs to market and soon began to get rich. But it was not long before he grew impatient with the goose because she gave him only a single golden egg a day. He was not getting rich fast enough. Then one day, after he had finished counting his money, the idea came to him that he could get all the golden eggs at once by killing the goose and cutting it open. But when the deed was done, not a single golden egg did he find, and his precious goose was dead. So the motto is, Aesop, those who have plenty want more, and so lose all they have. Economic hypochondriac. Now, we all yearn, and we all have these divine seeds of ideas that come to us. For me, the relationship between the two is we don't have to kill the goose to get it. It's given to us. We have it, but we want to go through the creative process that's going to deliver it. The creative process. Okay, here Butterworth says, build on the awareness of ever-present substance and expand your faith in the stability of our inner wholeness. The things will come too, and in abundance, but they will come out of the expanse of your wholeness, not at its expense. Faith is really your consent to let your own uniqueness unfold and to let that which is attracted by your uniqueness manifest in your life. So those list of things you desire, they're given. What you want to direct yourself to is the awareness from which it is coming. You, the God in you, delivers the good. So the last thing I want to say is from Shin. Oh, Florence Scovel Shin. In the section from her book, The Secret Door to Success, there's 3 questions that comes out of that book. Though there's more, but 3 I want you to focus on. What are you praying for? Or treating for? What is it? What are you preparing for? So you're praying, preparing. What are you expecting? Are these 3 questions in sync? For what you are praying for, is that what you're expecting? Is what you're expecting what you're preparing for? This is deep.
Oh, yeah.
It's deep, but it's truth. This is stabilization from a spiritual consciousness. So think about that, because Florence says nothing is too good to be true, nothing is too wonderful to happen, and nothing is too good to last when you look to God for your good. So thank you.
All right. Whew. So everybody take a breath. Ah. I notice, as she was, Regina was saying, praying for, preparing for, expecting, I realized, gosh, in some areas of my life, I prepare and expect. I never prayed. And that's a mess. Okay, so I need some spiritual help. So our practitioner of the day is coming forward, and it is Gary Torres.
Good morning. I've been thinking over the last couple of days about the fact that we refer to ourselves as science of mind, and we sometimes get to where we're talking about things in the abstract and metaphysical perspective, which is true and real and whatever, but sometimes we neglect to think about the what the physical sciences tell us. And some of the things that they tell us are germane to what we're doing, especially recently when they've really started getting to the bottom of certain kinds of things. For example, I love a quote by Einstein. He refers to our fears and difficulties as an optical delusion. And sometimes we get into so much involved in what appears to us that it seems to be real. Now, I'm not going to stand here and say none of this is real. I'm going to say it's the way you look at things. What you see is what you see. I love, there's a Buddhist expression that says if a pickpocket sees a monk, he sees nothing but pockets. It's whatever you are looking for, whatever you believe that it is, what's important to you is what you see. And we're tying this later into the idea of forgiveness. In a certain sense, what we know about forgiveness is that you're really forgiving not what the person or the situation or whatever did, but your particular perspective of it. So that if somebody does something, says something, and you take offense, they may not have meant anything like what you said. But if you're said to believe something about people being evil or the world being evil, a hostile place, then you're going to see the result of that. There are a lot of expressions that we use, and one of the things that we talk about in Science of Mind is our use of language, self-talk. And for example, a lot of us will ignore that we talk about forgiving and forgetting. The fact of the matter is that by the time something has happened, we have an immediate flush of hormones and physical responses, and if we just leave well enough alone, they go away. And we're able to reflect on what happened and to realize how it really relates to our higher principles and what we truly desire. Another thing that happens is, after the first few seconds, it might be as long as a minute, maybe, those hormones have flushed out of your bloodstream and you're thinking clearly again. If you manage to not overreact or make some kind of a commitment to believing something about what happened, a lot of times you'll find that there's nothing to forgive. So forgiving, we talk about forgiving and forgetting. Hopefully if we forget up front, or everything we thought we knew was going on, there's still a need for spiritual work, but there's not a need for dwelling on the thing. And another thing that a lot of spiritual traditions talk about giving up desire, Karen used the word properly. What we actually have a problem with is not desire, it's longing. Literally, we make things longer than they are. We take some little reaction and this becomes our belief about a situation. 99 times out of 100 we're wrong, and I wish I had $1 for every time that I believed that something happened. And years later, I would stumble over some document or something or other on tape or whatever it might be that would prove that I was totally wrong. So we can very easily recreate, we can actually change the past, change our belief about it. But we have to realize that the spiritual presence is always operating here and now. And if we can operate here and now ourselves, we will avoid a lot of the aggravation that comes with remembering something that never really happened, or anticipating something that we quote unquote hope will happen. It's not, that's not true hope either. So I just wanted to bring that up a little bit, and I wanted to launch into a treatment sort of based on that. How we tie it into the economics is, or anything else, is the fact that what you see is going to affect your behavior, and it's going to affect your thinking is going to affect what you see. So start with changing your thinking, change the way you see things, and the outer world starts looking a lot different. You start reacting to it differently, and spirit will respond to what you're actually doing, not responding to some falsehood. Spirit is always working in truth and working here and now. In that spirit, I want to move into a spiritual mind treatment. There is only one perfect, wonderful, eternal, omnipresent being, existence, and this is always operating here and now. Knowing that this is operating here and now, and within everything that exists, we know that everything is working from good to greater good, because that presence, that one being, is good and all good. And because we know this, we do not need to worry about something that we thought happened in the past, something that we expect to happen in the future. Rather, we are able to live out of our desires and genuine hope. And this is always good. And because we can do that, we can tie this into our physical existence, how we respond to such things as money, which is just one example, and we'll talk more about that later. I'm grateful that this is so. I know that everyone here, everyone listening, understands what I'm saying, because it's not really coming from me. It's coming from a higher source, a truer source than I could ever be. I certainly didn't sit down this morning and memorize a bunch of words to say to you all. And I know that it's true, and it's true right now, here, because that's the only place and time that there is. And so it is.
All right, musical interlude. And hello, Deborah. Okay. All right, so those of you in virtual land and those of you here, I have index cards again, so if someone can pass them out, that would be great. And if you are at home, if you could get a piece of paper, that would be good, because you're going to be making a list. Whether you like the list or not, that's not my business, but you're going to be making a list. So I picked up, it might have been a year ago, Edwene Gaines' second book. She only wrote 2 books, but both of them are powerful. The first one that she did workshops on for decades, her whole ministry, was on the 4 principles of prosperity. And for those of you who are here in our room, we have back there copies of DVDs or CDs of a workshop that she gave here. So you are free to take them, no charge. I am releasing them. So she's had on her mind for years her second book, and I even treated for her for about that completion of that book from time to time, and it finally worked, demonstrated, because she wrote her book, and it's called How to Become Debt-Free, Forgive. And the subtitle is Techniques to Release Old Patterns of Guilt, Shame, Anger, and Blame. And so it actually is a book on forgiveness. You think it's about debt-free, but what are your debts? So, wherever we are incomplete in a relationship, and we know when we are incomplete because something is still hooked in us. So you might not think about a person for years and years and years and years and years, and then somebody mentions something, and all of a sudden you remember that person, and you remember, oh yeah, he never paid me that $1,000 for da-da-da-da-da-da. So, or, oh yeah, when you maybe talk about your high school friends, you think of a particular friend, and you might say, if you were me, oh yeah, and he said that really nasty thing to me right before our high school graduation. So, those are debts. Those are things in us that are incomplete, that maybe we are thinking someone owes us something, and clearly we're not thinking very rationally, obviously, but it might be an unconscious thought of they owe me an apology, or they need to take that back. I mean, there's something that's not there. And then of course there's also those things that we did. So there's whole other group of people, probably larger, that when I think about them from high school or whatever, I think, oh yeah. And I said that awful thing to her when in third grade, even though we became best friends, years and years. I still remember this awful thing I said to someone back in third grade when I was clueless, when I didn't know or understand what I was saying. But that's a debt I owe her. Something in me owes her an apology. Something in me wants to make that right. And so when we're talking about forgiveness, we want to realize that it is a way of being released from our past, and it is a way of completing relationships and situations that we have left behind. And as I look upon my past, it just seems like there's all these loose ends all over the place. And so if I were to make a list of these loose ends, feel free to take another index card, it would just be enormous, this huge list of loose ends. So beginning this Sunday, I'm actually focusing on completing the year. And forgiveness is a necessary step of completing. So this month and next month, like one Sunday a month, we'll be using Edwene Gaines' little book and doing progress in forgiveness. And so between now and my next talk on forgiveness, you'll have 3 weeks to work on your list, which you are creating right now, and you'll need those 3 weeks. Edwene Gaines recommends, and Catherine Ponder, who is her prayer partner, let me talk about those two women, though. These two women are recognized as perhaps the wealthiest women in our particular spiritual teaching. Mega money. When Reverend Edwene Gaines was here, I had the opportunity to drive her around a little bit, and I don't know, I was asking her detailed questions about how to tithe or something like this, and in the workshop she said to me, Karen, I think you're trying to figure out how little you can tithe. I was like, yeah, I am. Because I didn't believe that I could tithe on the full amount. So that's why I needed to know, is it gross or is it net income? Is it my investments when I cash them in, or da da da? And she shared with me that on her investment, she just tithes. She looks at the bottom line statement, and if it goes up, she tithes. And if it goes down the next month, she doesn't care. And if it goes up the third month, she tithes again. And I'm like, what? You're double tithing. And that is the statement of someone who's believing there's not enough. She's looking for opportunities to tithe, reasons to tithe, reasons to give more. And whenever there's an increase, she goes, hallelujah, and off she tithes. And so she said to me, Karen, people have given me oil wells. I was like, there we go. That explains this consciousness and this consciousness. She has in her Keys Spiritual Laws of Prosperity book the need to write down goals, and she recommends that you have this ongoing list of things that you'd like to do, have, become, your Sunday maybe list. It's your la-di-da list, but then you take from that list those particular items that you want to grow into and become and achieve and cross off that list. And she has this little form where you can take out of your infinite list, which, by the way, I have never gotten to infinite on my list. It's always like, oh yeah, what did I do with that list? It's somewhere, and let me add some things to it, and I have to like work at it, right? But then, when you're ready to do your goal setting, her form allows for 12 items from your list, and you're going to take those 12 items, and every day you're going to work with each one, and ask yourself the question: what is it that I need to become? Or what is it that I need to do? Or what is it that I need to release in order to become the fulfillment of that goal? And when she talked about this list of 12 things, I was like, oh, that's just too much. I can do 3, maybe. So we're talking about oil well here, and I can maybe only do 3 here. I know. And here is this, dainty little lady, with the little high voice, just loving her life completely. And she recommends and does practice forgiveness every single day. That when we lay down to go to sleep, we ask ourselves the question, who have I put outside of my heart this day? And then we do our spiritual work. So those of you who have pieces of paper, begin writing down. If a name has popped up when I ask any of these questions, feel free to start writing them down. And we have a need for more. We've got more over there. Did you put it over there?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So there's more index cards over there if you need it. Oh, and we need pens. Okay, so people share your pens. Boy, that's important. All right. So we have a couple right back there on there, but only a couple. Oh, here comes Regina serving. Anyone else need a pen in the room? Yes. 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 Okay. All right. All right. Anybody else need a pen or writing on your? Okay. Everybody set? Everybody set. Okay. You set out there? Buongiorno, Laura. Yes. Okay. So, forgiveness. Forgiveness is not making your or someone else's behavior okay. It's not about tolerating bad behavior. That is not forgiveness. Forgiveness is setting yourself free from what might have been done. It's not really even setting the other person free, because they may have set themselves free or never even had you on their list. They might not even have noticed that you took offense about something or that they stepped on your toe. They may be totally clueless, and they might not have ever thought of you ever again. Where we need to forgive is where we are holding ourselves in bondage to something from the past that is not here in the present. And whenever we think of it, here in the present, we feel bad in some way, right? Right? Right. So, back to what Marcia Sutton and Lloyd Strom said, incomplete endings inhibit new beginnings. As we prepare for all this newness in our world, we want to be cleared up. Going back to talking about these awful people. Let me see where I can find it. These people who done us wrong. Okay, must be in this section here. She writes, "Please understand, I am not excusing or making right any unkind or hurtful behaviors. If people do not know how to behave, do not allow them into your life. You can forgive them from a distance and love yourself enough to require respect, honor, and kindness from all those you invite into your circle. What if they are already in your life, you ask? Right? Gently and kindly ask for the behavior that you want. If they change the way they treat you, then you have succeeded. However, if they don't, you must love yourself enough to release them. We must let go of toxic relationships. They hold us back from our lives and purpose. If they do not respect you and treat you with dignity, they have no place in your life's journey." So this is tough, right? Especially when you've been with these people for a long time. Call them family, call them long-term friends, whatever. It's hard to let people go. I have made that choice to let certain people go in my life, and it doesn't feel comfortable to me. And over the years, what I realize is I'm letting this person out of my life, not because of how they are behaving, but because how I feel when they behave that way. And so I become unhealthy or toxic when I am around that particular person who operates with that particular behavior. So I'll lay the onus on myself that I need to not be around you, because when you hit me over the head with a hammer, I feel angry, and I don't want to be angry anymore. So it's not you. It's just that I don't want to feel anger anymore. I mean, that's, convoluted thinking, but it works for me in some cases. So, yes, we don't forgive the behavior. And this is, again, in our Science of Mind teaching, I think, a lot of people get confused about saying it's all good. It's only all good in God, as God, the absolute. That's what's all good. Here in the world, we live in duality. We are in the relative world, and we are in duality. And so there's going to be some expressions of this all good that we prefer, and some expressions that we do not prefer. That's choice. But all good is only present in the all God expressing in the world. And so when we're talking about all our relationships, we want to get to the place in every single relationship where we can think of anyone with peace of mind. And it may be that they need to be far away from you for you to think with peace of mind about them. I have one character from my childhood past. I can now, it's taken me my whole life. So even while I've been here as a minister, I was aware that the person is way, way, way out of my life. But I realized that there was a part of me that was afraid that that person might find me, and I was afraid of them. But I did spiritual work, forgiving the ideas associated with that person. And what I notice now is I have peace of mind regarding that person. And should that person attempt to re-enter my life, I believe that I do. What does she say? I do respect, honor, and trust myself enough to say no and take a stand for that. And I think maybe even as soon as 10 years ago, I couldn't do that. And this is a person I have not seen since I was 21. Not seen since I was 21. So, even people who have made their transition, who have passed over, you might have some remaining uncomfortable feelings regard them. Forgiveness work can set you free of that. So, Edwene Gaines starts in her introduction the prayer that many of us know called the Lord's Prayer, right? Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. There's also, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. And so this Lord's Prayer could be the very simplest forgiveness prayer that you do every day from now on, if you don't have a lot of time. So every day for the next 3 weeks until I talk about this again, if you say that Lord's Prayer, you've got your list. Hopefully it's growing. And you could just put your hand over that list and say that Lord's Prayer. If you have debts or a whole lot of bills and are unable to pay them all off, Edwene Gaines, not just Edwene Gaines, but actually Lloyd Strom and Marcia Sutton, all claim that debt is a need for forgiveness work to be done. And so another spiritual practice, if you have a whole lot of bills and a whole lot of debts, is to, symbolically or actually physically put them in a pile. And again, maybe put your hand over your checkbook or put your hand over your computer if you pay your bills via the computer, whatever it is. Put your hand over it and say the Lord's Prayer. And you can personalize that Lord's Prayer. I like to say, my Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Give me this day my daily bread. Ugh. And forgive me my false beliefs as I forgive all those in my life. But deliver me from the temptation to act out with my bad behaviors, but deliver me, right, from all that, and lead me not into that temptation. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever, and so it is. So that's a very easy forgiveness prayer. Now let's get back to your list. Chances are you need to put yourself on the list. So Put yourself on the list. Just get it on there. And especially if you have allowed people around you in your world to hurt you over and over and over again, just put your name on the list. She says, we're human, get over it. Right? She says, frequently I hear the statement, I can forgive others, but I just cannot forgive myself. She says, please welcome yourself to the human race. Of course you have done some stupid stuff. So have we all. Get over yourself. The word repent means rethink. Tell yourself the truth about your past and have some compassion for that younger you. And so this other spiritual approach to bad things we and others have done, particularly our parents, right, is if we knew better back then, we would have done better, but we didn't. We didn't know better, and so we did what we did. And so that's true of our parents, our family, all those back then, but it's also true of ourselves. If I knew better, I would have done better. We cannot use the consciousness of today's self to judge the consciousness of our 12-year-old self or our self from last week, right? Not fair, not fair. If we knew better, we would have done better, but we didn't. So forgive me my innocence and my ignorance, because that's what it was. Innocence and ignorance on our part, but also our parents. Let's face it, what were their lives like? I'm sure some of you have had wonderful parents, but mine, God bless them. And I'm grateful that they were able to get it together enough for me to be birthed. Somehow I ended up here. I'm grateful for all that they did because, oh my God, Karen, look at me now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So, questions. It is time to begin. Now, she says it's not easy to begin forgiveness work. But Lao Tzu said, all difficult things have their origin in that which is easy, and great things in that which is small. So for you right now, actually writing anything on your list is that easy step. You have begun. That's it. You might not be able to touch it anymore. You might not be able to look at it. That's okay. Maybe you'll be able to do the Lord's Prayer every day until you forget about it. That's good enough. Just start with where you're at. It's important to realize that although you may not be able to forgive some people on that list, you're willing to start, or you're willing to learn how. And that's enough. That's enough. It opens up our heart. Edwene says, just our willingness to begin to forgive says much about who we are and the attention we are paying to the guidance we are receiving. And this forgiveness list is an activity of reevaluating our lives and the vision for who we want to be in the future in our world. Do you want to be, at the end of next year, the same person who has all of these needs to forgive on the same list? Oh boy, I gotta know in there. I mean, do you want to carry this list of incomplete relationships next year? Do you want it to be as long as it is right now? I mean, the first time I did this, I made a list. It went on, I had one of those college ruled notebooks, and it went on for pages and pages and pages. I mean, grocery store clerks. I mean, the list was endless. And at that time, I was willing to practice forgiveness at my level of understanding at the time, which wasn't very deep, but it was good enough, because I I started forgiving. I started at the top of the list, so I started forgiving. And what I noticed was, when I did some work like around the grocery store clerk, a whole batch of people on the list got off the list too, without my doing anything about it. So it was like a type that of forgiveness that I needed to bestow. So just get your list. You're willing to do it now, that's enough. And it's time to reinvent ourselves and expand our vision for our futures, because treating for greater good, treated for this expanded consciousness, these hurts and regrets and crimes will squeeze us to where we are. Can't expand with the clenched fist. So you gotta, open up the pinky. Maybe that's all we got. But see, if you open the pinky, there's room for some good to get in here. Not a whole lot, but some, right? All right, so here's our list. It's time to begin, she says, with honesty, integrity, and compassion. And take lots and lots of deep breaths. Give yourself permission to tell yourself the truth. So we have our opening question. Is there anyone, anywhere, that I have put out of my heart? And just write down their names. And I'm just going to keep asking questions. Is there someone or some situation I have great difficulty in forgiving? Just write the situation, the person, whatever. Am I blaming anyone or anything? Who hurt me? Cheated me? Lied to me? Stole from me? Broke my heart? Betrayed me? Belittled me? And let's add these to our list. Who have I hurt? Who have I lied to? Cheated? Stole from? Whose heart did I break? Who did I betray? Who did I belittle? And about yourself, am I used to feeling guilt and shame? Edwene asks us, who am I if I don't feel guilt and shame, blame and judgment? So hopefully you've all got a nice little list there to start with. But that little practice of doing the Lord's Prayer over your list is a good one. And then not to add to the list is an even better one. So at night, before you lay yourself down to sleep, ask yourself, is there anyone that I have put outside of my heart? And if any new name comes up, then you could practice forgiveness right there in the present. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. Or I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Saying it 3 times over. it's a start. Very, very simple little techniques as a little start. And if you do this process, I promise you, by 3 weeks from now, I promise you, some new good will have entered your life. A little bit more freedom, a little bit more ease, maybe even a little bit more money. Because if you've just done a little bit, the pinky's worth of forgiveness work, something new, good has to come in. Because all of this, holding on to this incomplete relationship, is keeping out our good. And so what we want to do is just open it up a little. And the good that has always been ready to enter our lives will start entering. And you may feel a little bit easier, you may feel a little bit lighter, but you will see new good in different ways open in your life. It's like an internal feng shui process that you're doing. You're moving your consciousness around in yourself, and new good absolutely will follow. I find it always happens, and because it's not direct, I forget that I did all this forgiveness work for 3 straight weeks, and then I wonder why some wonderful new opportunity entered my life, and I'm like, I wasn't even treating for that. This wonderful new thing showed up. Oh my gosh, I must be in the flow. Well, we can't be in the flow if we've got a need to forgive. It keeps us out of the flow. It's like the river is flowing and we're held like a rock to where we are. We're not going anywhere. So just a little bit of loosening up and we start moving a little bit. All right, so having done that, and before we move into that, no, I think we'll move into that. Okay, good. So Gary, do you know what you're going to do with that? You look a little surprised. Okay, so for those of you out there, we're moving into the invitation to contribute activity, and we're all not on the same page here. So what we're going to do is Regina is going to lead us in this spiritual practice, but also when we come back, I will lead us in Edwene Gaines' affirmations for supporting us in doing this forgiveness work. So let's take a moment right now and be spiritually guided by our practitioner, Regina Quince.
Okay, I'm selecting which one I want. Okay, I'll do the top one. We're going to take a moment in gratitude as we have been given great ideas, great practices. We have now the opportunity to tie. And for those of you in virtual land, Reverend Karen posted it, so you can go to our website and hit the donate button. And for those that are here, I will pass around our little bowl. So we do not give because God needs the gift, but because the giving increases, broadens, and deepens the life of the giver. We had examples of that from Reverend Karen's lesson. Are you here or are you here? You know. Nor shall we give from the standpoint of duty. The universe refuses to bargain with us. It already has given us everything it has. But it also has provided that the gift of life can be received in its fullness only as it flows through us to the fullness of others. And this flow is to our center. That we have a entity that supports our spiritual growth and development. And I'm going to read the other piece, and this is from Deepak. I will make a commitment to keep wealth circulating in my life by giving and receiving life's most precious gifts. The gifts of caring, affection, appreciation, and love. Each time I meet someone, I will silently wish them happiness, joy, and laughter. I believe in the law of circulation. It has done me well. It truly has done me well. Should we hum?
You now have to sing.
Okay. What can I do?
Grateful, 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 grateful,
Grateful,
grateful,
grateful,
grateful,
grateful,
grateful,
grateful, grateful, grateful,
grateful,
grateful,
grateful,
grateful, grateful, grateful, grateful, grateful, doo 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 doo, doo doo doo, grateful, 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 doo 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 doo,
grateful,
doo 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 doo,
grateful,
doo 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 doo, grateful, 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 pressed down and overflowing. Thank you.
All right, so in this high consciousness that we are at, I see that we certainly didn't shorten the service for lack of music. We tended to expand, right? Oh, well, there we go. So let's, I've got some affirmations from Edwene. An affirmation prayer for beginning to forgive. So I invite you to repeat, perhaps silently, to yourself, each sentence as I say it. I desire now to be willing to forgive. I am choosing to rethink and reframe old wounds and judgments, guilts and shames, blames and resentments. I am beginning to be willing to give up being a guilty victim. I am gently releasing old grudges. I am letting go of self-righteousness. I am receiving assistance from all the powers that be. While I might not have the courage or wisdom to forgive myself and others completely right now, I can at least begin. It may seem as if I am peeling an onion one layer at a time. That is okay. I am willing to begin. I am beginning now to change my mind, my heart, my words, and my actions. I am putting away childish things, and I am giving myself permission to view my history, my past, and my drama in a new way. This doesn't have to be hard. I just begin to think new thoughts in new ways. I can do this. I can trust myself to persevere. I can trust myself to keep on keeping on. I give myself permission to have more joy, love, and peace of mind each day. This is my life. I choose to live it fully, freely, and with gusto and gratitude. And that's the way it is. Chinese proverb, the man who moves mountains begins by carrying away small stones. We have begun. So that concludes our service. Thank you all so much for coming. And if you are able to be physically present here next Sunday, this wonderful workshop that John is facilitating about how to look at the whole world, you might have to add some more names on your list when you think about the world. That's okay, you can do that, and we will keep moving forward, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.